I'm just looking for the fountain of youth, you guys. But bring me to it. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video. We are doing a review, we're doing a try on. Clearly, the girl's looking pale, she's looking drab, she's looking like she needs a little something. We're doing a full try on and I'm really excited. We're talking about the brand Summer Fridays and we're doing their new skin tint that they just launched. And I'm really excited. The second, I didn't even breathe. The second I could put it in my cart, I did. I bought it. I literally got it the next day, which is wild. And I've been trying and testing it out since, and I have some thoughts, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. The second that you guys saw that they were going to be coming out with a skin tint, you were like, please review this. You also said that about the Westman Atelier, and the Kulfi just launched a new concealer. That's also coming. So we got a bunch of new things coming. There are a bunch of there's like a bunch of stuff launching right now, and I feel like it's because we're going into fall, so it's like we're re-upping. There's new stuff and I'm jazzed. I'm so excited to get into this video, and I just want to kind of stop yapping, get into it, do the full try on, and then we're going to also compare and contrast to other skin tints and stuff like that in my collection, so you can kind of see where it lies in terms of how I like it, how it compares to others. So this is going to be a good video. I love a good review. I love a good foundation and concealer specifically review. Like, those are always my favorite. So let's get into it. If you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into the Summer Fridays Skin Tint review and try on. All right, you guys, we are in close. I'm excited. Let's get into it. So this is, the full name is the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint. And this is what the bottle looks like. Camera's real close, so it's gonna be a hard time there we go, to focus. And this is just what it looks like. It's a white bottle. It's, more plasticky feeling, and that's it. It's a small like drip bottle, which I found really interesting. Also, what I want to say, we'll get into like the full review and like breakdown after we applied it all, but what I will say is I had a hard time picking a shade, and not because their shade swatching wasn't accurate, but I was really feeling like in between. And I do believe Mariana said that she was shade 5, which is the shade I got, and then I was like, we are varying complexion. So I was unsure, but then with skin tints, especially something that's sheer, there's a lot more flexibility within shades. And I always say, and I feel like a lot of the time people say, go with your undertone. So I went with my undertone. I went with a more neutral undertone. I tend to work best with neutral, warm. I do not look great fully neutral all the time. Sometimes it can be a little bit too gray looking or pink looking. And warm just looks crazy on me. And also in general, when in doubt, I go with a lighter shade than I think necessary, because I always have like, you can do like, you know, bronze up, and in general faces have dimensions, so just because you put on a lighter shade doesn't mean it's not going to work, because I'm always going to throw on, for the most part, a bronzer or a blush that kind of changes the vibe of the shade that I'm putting down, if that makes sense. So when in doubt, in general, I go neutral, warm, always undertone, and then I always, if I'm between two and I'm like, wow, one looks like it's going to be really dark on me, or it's going to kind of skew dark, I don't go heavy with concealer. If you go heavy with concealer or you go super bright with concealer, then I would go dark. But since I don't do that, my general vibe is to go more bronzer than I would more brightening concealer. I go light, if that makes sense. That was a really long explanation for a whole lot of nothing, but here we go. So again, I got the shade 5, and I'm going to do this out. So this is like a drippy bottle. I don't know if you ever tried the Kosas, like the tinted face oil. It's a similar dropper to that. So what's interesting is when you drop it out and you hold just the sides, nothing comes out. But when you do the front, you get drops. So I'm going to do about 5 drops to start. And this is definitely, you'll see, light covered. So I'm going to apply it on this side with my fingers. I hope you can't hear my dog. My dog has been so loud in videos lately, and I'm going to blend it out with my fingers. And we're just going to blend. And again, this is what the shade looks like. I don't know why. I'm not doing this with a mirror in front of me. I just have the monitor in front of me, and that's crazy, girl. What am I doing? Okay, here we go. I'm going to see what I'm doing. So you can kind of see. That's a pretty decent complexion match for me right now. I have 100% lost my tan, so this is like my light shade. This is like what I'm going to be looking like going into fall winter. So when I was picking a shade, I also went lighter because in general, I'm pale. This is the palest I will be. And I'm very pale in winter. So that is what that looks like on this side, just with my fingers. I'm gonna apply on this side with a brush, just so you can see kind of the difference. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. And this is nice. The one thing I will say is it is a white container. So when you're using your fingers, you just have to make sure it's not too crazy. Like you wipe off your hands, or just make sure you have something you can wipe the container off because it does get dirty. So we're just gonna blend with a brush. And that is kind of what that looks like. So you can see I have, my hyperpigmentation isn't really that bad anymore, but I do still have some hyperpigmentation on both sides and a little bit on my forehead thanks to my time of the month. What I'm going to do is take the back of this brush here, it's just a little pin up. This is the Heavenly Luxe number 7. It's not a pinpointy, but it's a little bit of a smaller brush. And I'm just gonna kind of focus a little bit more product there, just so you can kind of see what happens when you kind of build it up. Okay, so you can kind of see there that is kind of one layer of the product on. I am going to go with a second layer just so you can see how it kind of builds, but that's one layer done. Now you can do, again, brush, fingers, or beauty sponge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rest of my face with a brush just so you can see, because I do know not everyone likes to use their fingers, and with your fingers, it's just a little bit more. So this is how much more I'm taking. A little bit, it shears out a little bit more. So I really want it to be a true kind of vibe on how it'll look if you like really work to build it up. Can you hear my dog sleeping? My dogs all of a sudden just feel passed out. Do your dogs do that? They just fall asleep almost immediately. So with this product, I do find that I don't need to just push it in, like it's kind of stipple it in, which is my normal. I can kind of like not drag it and wipe it around, because I don't really love to do that in general with any product, but I do kind of don't have to worry about it becoming streaky, which is nice. Okay, so that is what that looks like. Now it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. I will say the way that it kind of finishes once it's all kind of dried down is a little bit more on the natural side, but I do think it's like, it's natural, but it can do up throughout the day is what I will say. So let me do the rest of my makeup. We're going to go really, really quick. I'm not going to go too crazy. And then we're going to go into the full review and compare and contrast. But this is what it looks like before being set or anything like that. And I do have sunscreen underneath this. And the sunscreen that I am wearing has a little bit of a sheen. But this is generally how it looks even on stuff that doesn't have a sheen. And I have tried this on top of the Summer Fridays sunscreen, and it has a similar vibe. So let's get into the rest of the makeup. All right, you guys, makeup is on, feeling happy. This is before I have set it with powder. I wanted you to see kind of how it looks without powder. So this is kind of the finished look. I'm in studio lights again, as always. And in general, studio lights are really hot. I've also tested it outside when it's been colder, when it's been warm. So I have like a good kind of range of temperatures I've been testing this in, but I wanted you to see kind of how it looks when you're hot, you're sweating. Because that can happen in winter too. And then you're just like, why am I sweating? It's because you're wearing 14 layers of sweaters, because it's cute. The outfit's cute. It's for the outfit. But yeah, this is the finished look. Very happy with it. Now, what I want to do is I want to set it with some powder. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to actually set it with the Amicole setting powder. I have hair on my lip, and I'm going to lose my mind because I can't find it. Okay, got the hair, thank God. That was driving me bananas. So now we're gonna set again with the Amicole setting powder, my favorite. This is a translucent powder, and I am really happy with the shade match. I feel like it's pretty good. I didn't put a ton of bronzer on, but I did put some on. And I just in general like when, I don't know if I'm alone on that. Let me know if I'm alone that I like when, if I'm not sure about the shade, I always tend to go lighter, and I always tend to be happier when I go lighter because again, I can balance it with like some bronzing drops or a lot of the time I'll wear like a bronzing thing underneath, and then I don't necessarily, then I add like, if I add a darker foundation on top, I just feel like it looks a little crazy. Let me know what you guys think down below. Okay, so I'm powdered. I'm happy with how that's looking. I powder again with the Amicole powder, and that's kind of a soft matte, I would say. It's not like a really intense matte, and I can do it throughout the day when I wear that powder. My dog is snoring so loud. I hope you can't hear her. She's so cute. Anyways, and I'm really happy with how that kind of mattifies me. And then throughout the day, I do kind of shine up again, but I like that. I like to look young. So let's kind of get into the review. So again, this is the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint. I wear the shade 5. And I found picking a shade a little bit tough, but I went with undertone. In general, I go with undertone. I'll put on the screen what the swatches kind of looked like, and I felt like shade 6 looked a little too warm for my complexion. This is definitely sheer for sure. I think you can get light coverage, but I would say for the most part, it's sheer to light. But you definitely have to layer for it to be more light coverage. And I would say with this, the best way to kind of approach it is light layers as opposed to going in super, super heavy at first. I find going in heavier, I feel like doesn't do that much. I mean, it does something, but I find if I do a layer and put it on a sheer, and then I do, oh my gosh, the rain is crazy. Whoa, it just started downpouring, which is amazing because that means the humidity is going to be gone. But anyways, I find that doing light layers with this is my personal preference of doing it. I mean, I can do like more than 5 dots and then apply it all over my face, but because it is a slippier product, I find that doing a light layer, then doing another light layer is better than applying a lot of a product that's super slippy, because it kind of just slips all over the face, not in a bad way, but just in the way it's a sheer coverage and it's a little bit more slippy. And it has like oils and all that stuff in it. It definitely feels like skincare when you're applying it, and not in a bad way, in a way that I really like it. And definitely in a way I feel like a lot of skin tints want to feel, right? Like they want to feel like it's more skincare. Oh my goodness. It is downpouring. I hope my mic's not picking that up. It probably is, and the whole audio is going to be distorted, but it's fine. We're gonna try and post production it because it's supposed to be raining all day. Anyways, so again, light layers is definitely the way that I like to apply this. It's definitely sheer coverage. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can tell, I didn't do any additional coverage on my hyperpigmentation. I just left it as is, and you can definitely still see it. I would say that this is a really nice product if you have dryness on your face, which I know a lot of people struggle with, like dryness on your acne or dryness on your hyperpigmentation or just dryness in general. This is nice because it just kind of like glides over that dryness, right? So it doesn't cling, which is really nice, because some things just cling to dryness, and I don't find that this does. And I definitely have a bunch of dryness right now, especially here, and especially on the sides right here and under my chin where I have some more hyperpigmentation. It doesn't cling to that, which I really enjoy. This definitely is more of a natural finish, but I would say natural to dewy finish. I do think depending on how you prep or your skin type, this will definitely end up being a little bit more dewy for some, a little bit more on the natural side for some. And I really like that because in general, really, really plumped up dewy looking skin is just really, really young looking, and I'm just looking for the fountain of youth, you guys. Bring me to it. And I really, really enjoy the way that it wears throughout the day. It doesn't, throughout the day, if I've worn it, let's say 8 or 9 hours, I've even worn it for almost 12 hours at one point, maybe more like 10, 11-ish. And I do find that it's not uncomfortable and it doesn't wear off really ugly, even though I know it's sheer. Sometimes even things that tend to be sheer coverage, I find can become patchy throughout the day, and then you kind of notice that it's patchy, depending on how good of a shade match it is for you, which is why I like something that is more of a shade match for my face, as opposed to my neck, and then I kind of make it all blend with powder bronzer or whatever. I wore powder bronzer today. This is a nice finish, I will say, and it just wears really comfortably, and it doesn't, again, patch off or become bunchy. And even though it's like a sheer formula and like a thinner formula, it's definitely like a thinner formula. I'll like put a little bit on the back of my hand so you can see how it runs. It doesn't settle into fine lines, which I really like. So let's get into it. So again, this is shade 5. I'm gonna do a drop or two on the back of my hand just so that you can see how it is. You can just see how it runs there. And then I'm going to just blend it out of the back of my hand for you. Ooh, the light, get back, there we go. And you can kind of see. It's a nice match for me. I mean, even my hand, which is definitely a little bit more tan than my face, it's like a very versatile and adaptable formula. And because it's so sheer, you're not looking crazy either way if you go dark or light. And this is kind of the way that it finishes up. Very natural looking, very pretty, gives you like, ooh, she's just so hydrated and cute looking, and I'm a really big fan of that finish. Okay, let's compare and contrast the Summer Fridays Skin Tint to other ones in my collection. So first things first, the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. So the Kosas Tinted Face Oil definitely has a lot more coverage than the Summer Fridays Skin Tint. Now, in Kosas I wear 7. Again, in the Summer Fridays, oh, my nose is itchy. In the Summer Fridays, I wear the shade 5. Now, the Kosas Tinted Face Oil also, besides the fact that it has more coverage for sure, what I also will say is that it's a little bit on the drier side, and I know that doesn't, goodness, you hear that? I know that's not really going to make sense because it's a face oil, but it has a little bit of a drier consistency. The Summer Friday Skin Tint feels a little bit more serumy than the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. The Kosas Tinted Face Oil also tends to cling to dry patches for sure. So if you're the type of person that has dry patches or anything like that, this is not going to be for you because it definitely clings, and it clings pretty apparently. It's not like a slight cling, it clings, not in a bad way, but like just, it depends on your skin needs, right? Whereas the Summer Fridays one definitely glides over dryness more, but again, you get a lot less coverage out of this. You get a lot more coverage out of the Kosas one. So let's move on to the next face tint. The Westman Atelier, what is this? The Vital Skin Foundation Stick. Now this is definitely a tint. I would say that you can get medium coverage out of this, but in general, I would say that this is more of a light coverage. Now, I know someone's going to say, hey, are you going to review the new Westman Atelier Skin Tint? Don't worry, I already ordered it, and we're about to start testing. So I'm very excited about that. But they are definitely different because, of course, it's a stick. I would say that the Westman Atelier, again, you can get, it's more light coverage instead of sheer coverage, but I would say you can get it to be more medium. But my favorite way to wear this is just kind of keep it light coverage. I really like the consistency of this, and this has that similar thinness, and I don't know how to explain it. It's very thin, and it's very similar in the way that it wears throughout the day and the way that I feel like my skin looks throughout the day to the Summer Fridays Skin Tint. Now, again, more coverage. This one you can, wear under your eyes. You also can more pinpoint with this, as opposed to this is definitely more of like a true skin tint. It's very liquidy, whereas this is a stick. So you can kind of get away a little bit more of just applying it, let it sit for a second, then blend it out. You get a little bit more coverage. But both really great. I like the way that both of them make my skin look. I feel like they both give me a really pretty natural look to the face. I would say out of the two, they both get a decent amount of dew throughout the day. So there's not one where I'm like, oh, it's way, like I look way more greasy by the end of the day. I would say they're pretty comparable. Okay, so the next, the Rose Ink Tinted Serum. Both very similar, I would say, in terms of end result. I would say that undertone wise, Rose Ink, at least for me, definitely missed the mark. I think they skewed very, very orange for darker complexions, and I feel, and I was surprised by the undertones of this being more on the orange side, because I will say, once I tried their bronzer tones are just amazing. So hopefully they kind of right their undertones a little bit here. I got the shade 100 in the Rose Ink Skin Serum. They are very different consistencies. So one feels more water-based, one feels very water-based, and not in a bad way, but it feels more water-based, whereas one feels like it has a little bit more oils in it. So the finish there is definitely a little bit different. And the way that it feels on the skin is different. If you've ever used like a, I don't know, like a not a cooling gel, that's not accurate, but something that's a little bit more, This just feels more wet. I don't know how to explain it. The Rose Ink one has a little bit more of a wet feeling. And again, the undertone just wasn't great. I think I would probably go with maybe shade 80 if I could pick again. But I will say, they have like a very similar vibe once you have them on the face. Just initial application is definitely different. And I would say throughout the day, my skin feels a little bit more comfortable wearing the Summer Fridays one, just for my own personal preference. But the Rose Ink one feels super hydrating and it has all of that. You know, it definitely is skincare. And I would say the Summer Fridays is also skincare with a tint. It's really, really nice. Okay, so now I want to move on to a category of skin tints that I feel like I'm going to get questions on. So let's move into them. I have the Jason Wu Tinted Moisturizer Meets CC Cream. I have the Ami Collet Skin Tint. I have the Say Beauty, what is this? Slip cover. The Tower 28 tinted sunscreen, and then I also have the Well People tinted moisturizer. All of these are kind of in the same category where they're all skin tints, but they have a lot more coverage. Some of them have SPF, some of them don't. Now, the only one that kind of has a similar consistency because it's a lot more liquidy is the Tower 28 tinted sunscreen. Again, it's sunscreen. So there's that. It also has more coverage, although it is very liquidy. All of these skin tints have a lot more coverage than the Summer Fridays. Again, definitely sheer to light coverage on the Summer Fridays. These, I would all say, are more medium coverage. So if you're looking for more coverage or you're looking for sunscreen, these are definitely your best bet in terms of options. I am actually an unbelievable fan of the Summer Friday Skin Tint. Again, I didn't think I was gonna like it as much, but it's definitely one of those that's gonna be my go-to. I feel like my skin looks so good. Look at it. I mean, what do you guys think? Now, I know not everyone is going to love this because you want more coverage or you feel like you need more coverage, and I totally understand. I don't necessarily think it's going to be for everyone. I'm definitely really impressed with the Summer Fridays Skin Tint, and although it's more sheer to light coverage, I do think it just makes my skin look unbelievably healthy. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look how good. It just looks really, really flawless. And yeah, that is it for this video. I would love to know, have you tried this out? Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you loving the sheer to light coverage? Let me know. If you have any other things that you want me to test, there's going to be a bunch of new launches coming soon. Westman Atelier already launched. I already ordered that. We're going to be testing. Testing is happening. So let me know what else you want to see. And thank you so much for watching this Summer Fridays Skin Tint review. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.